Our last session today is a workshop that will be delivered by Dr. Anji Benhamed, Director of Ahli Center for Entrepreneurship and Director of Ahliauniversitybh MBA program. The title of the workshop is Promoting Women Empowerment Through Entrepreneurship and Gender Equality. I'd call Dr. Anji to start.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm Dr. Anji. I'm going to deliver today the workshop, which is about women empowerment or promoting or fostering women empowerment through entrepreneurship and gender equality. I'm so happy to be with you today, and I'm so happy to contribute in this amazing and wonderful conference about women empowerment and equal opportunity. So my workshop will be outlined as follows, and I will start with an introduction. Then I will go to the concept of women empowerment, and then women empowerment relating it to entrepreneurship. But before starting, I would like to apologize for the quality of voice, as I'm a bit sick. So, women empowerment. This is a trendy concept. It's a new concept. It's a hot topic today. And I would like to start my presentation on my workshop with this quotation. And this quotation is really by Hillary Clinton, and she was talking about the power and the importance of women worldwide, and basically in the context of economy. And when I'm talking about women, and she said that one of the biggest growth markets in the world may surprise you, as we have been thinking about maybe opportunities related to the emerging countries like China, Asia, and so on. And also we have been talking about growth in markets related to different technologies like the green technology. But we have been thinking about one big and major emerging market that hasn't reserved or received the attention that it deserves. And that market is called women. We have to think about women as a market, and we need to invest on women, since women, they are contributing too much in the economic growth of countries and the economic growth of companies as well. So to support this, and to support this conclusion, and I have also some findings coming from the World Economic Forum. As the World Economic Forum, they have been working on this concept of women empowerment and the importance of women empowerment for countries and for economy in general. And they have been mentioning within one latest report on 2018 that the whole globe, that we are facing there are five major challenges. And these challenges, they are related to the demographic aspect. We have challenges related to food security, leadership, conflict, and also sustainability and resource deployment. And according to these research done by the World Economic Forum, they said also to face these challenges, to overcome these challenges, there is only one solution, which is as well women. So that's why they have been working very hard through the Global Agenda Council, and in order to make reports and statistics and finding that aims to demonstrate and to show how women's empowerment is really the right way, is part of the solution to all these challenges. So, as you can see, women is very important. We need to work on women, we need to invest. To work on women, how? As I said, and as I started, we need to empower women. That's why we need to define the concept of empowerment. What does empowerment mean, and how we can empower women? So, talking about empowerment in general, not only related to women, means basically it's a process, or it could be defined as follows. It's a multiple dimensional social process, and through this process we are going to help individuals or people gain control over what? Gain control over their own lives. And through this process, we will help them foster their power to own their own lives within their communities, their societies, by acting an issue, and they will be defined as important for them. Within our context, since we are not going to take the concept of empowerment with its really general concept, but we are going to focus more on the concept of women empowerment. And that's why empowerment in this context of women means basically gaining more power, or giving ladies more power in order to to have more control and power over their own lives. So this is what we mean by women empowerment. Now, we know what does women empowerment mean, and we need to know how we can do that, how we can implement this process of women empowerment. So in this direction, let's have a look at the global context. Let's take it in general from a world point of view. And from the global context, which is also referring to the very latest reports as provided by the World Economic Forum. And we can see that today there is a main conclusion or main finding that countries that invest in female and women and integrate them within the workforce, they tend to be more competitive. So that's why many governments, they are working in that direction, and they are considering or already implementing policies, procedures, regulations in order to promote more opportunities for women, as it's really good for them, for their economies. So through different researchers, there are a lot of evidence that shown that closing the gender gap, and in here we are talking about the gender gap, in order to reach gender parity, so through women empowerment. And closing this gender gap is good for companies as well, not only for countries. So it's a win-win strategy for everyone. So it's a win strategy for ladies, it's a win strategy for companies, it's a win strategy as well for countries. And if we are going to successfully engage women, it could add a value from different point of view, so either as financial, social, economic, or cultural. And it has to be also a kind of must for countries and companies as well, because today with this projection, the shortage of talent projected to begin within developed or in developing countries, that's why we have today to move on for more investing and promoting and recruiting more. There is an imperative for recruiting or for having more women within as part of your pool of talent and as part of your staff. So from this overall global context, we have something called the gender gap, and we needed to close this gap. And this gap, while closing it, we will be able to reach a high level of women empowerment, so having a positive and a good impact on the overall economic growth. The global gender gap, this concept, how to measure it, what are the components, what are the indicators, and how to take it into consideration. The gender parity, as I just explained, is really fundamental for economies, and societies to thrive. And ensuring that there is a full development and appropriate deployment of your women and your female talents. It's something really important that has a great impact, as I told you, on the growth of your competitiveness and the future readiness of your economy and of the societies as a whole. So that's why countries, on their progress towards that gender parity, they should go through 4 thematics. We have 4 dimensions that countries should focus on in order to attain the high level of women empowerment, so gender equity. These 4 thematics, they are as follows. The first one, it has to do with the economic aspect, as we have economic participation and opportunities. The second one is related to the educational level, and we have educational attainment. And the next one, it has to do with health. And the last one, it's the political empowerment. And we need to work on that concept, as this is a new concept related or added to the whole package related to gender parity and women empowerment. In addition to that, today, and with the trend or the booming concept of artificial intelligence, the World Economic Forum, they have been adding one rubric or one part related to skill gender gaps related to the artificial intelligence, as presented today by the doctor, sorry, I forget her name. So she presented this part thoroughly, and she explained how the gap is really clear in terms of skills needed for artificial intelligence. Let me go a little bit deep with you for this global index. And in here for this global index, as I said, the global index, it measures the relative gap between women and men across these 4 areas that I have mentioned, which are the health, the education, the economy, and the political aspect. And basically, what is the purpose and what is the objective for such kind of index? First of all, this index, it provides a very comprehensive set of data and also a clear method for tracking gaps on these critical indicators, because these indicators, they are considered to be very critical for countries and for economy. And the second objective is Because countries, they will base it on these indicators, and based on these data, they will be able to design or to set priorities within their economies or their political aspect or political or cultural strategies. So it's going to give them an orientation and it's going to outline their actions toward that. And the last point is basically the purpose, and the main objective is to close the gender gap. Closing the gender gap is the main target worldwide, not only within specific countries. So let me give you more details about these indicators and break down these 4 indicators into sub-indicators as utilized by the World Economic Forum. As you can see in here, we have the economic and opportunity participation, then we have the educational attainment, health and survival, and the political empowerment. For the first one, it has to do with the workforce, the labor, the participation, the income, and the parity in terms of salaries and all these things, owning a business, starting your own business, and all the economic aspects related to women and related to men as well. For the second one, which is related to education, it has to do with the level of literacy, education within the secondary, university level, and so on. For the health, it's about the health level and the facilities provided to health. And for the political empowerment, it's about the number of seats in the parliament for ladies, for male and female, is the female at very ministerial level, and the number of years with a female head of a state. These are the key indicators for this main concept of political empowerment. So, what are the key findings? If we want to go across the report related to the closing the gap or the gender gap or gender parity, we end up with the following. First of all, if we want to take it to global, so globally, the average, according to population weight, so the distance completed to parity, for overall, it's 68%. We still have 32% to go to reach that worldwide, that global parity. We'll break it down, try to go more details. The largest gender disparity, now it's where exactly? It's mainly in 2 aspects or in 2 indicators. It's the one, it's related to the economic, and the very first one, it's related to the political empowerment. As for the political empowerment, it has a gap of 77.1%, and the economic participation has a gap of 41.9% worldwide. For the educational attainment and the health, they are doing well. It's good. They are very close to gender parity, as the gap is only respectively with 4.4 and 4.6%. Now, these indicators, they are very helpful, as these gaps in different, they are related. I will focus on the economic mainly because it has the biggest gap, and also political aspect. So gaps in control, for example, for the economic, it has to do with the gap in control of financial assets, and also in the spend of unpaid tasks continue to preserve the economic disparity between male and female. Women have as much access to financial services as men, in just 60% in the overall countries, and to loan ownership in just 42% over the countries assessed. For your information, the total number of countries that have been involved in this research are 149. So this is out of these 60%, within only 60%, ladies, they have access to financial, and only 42% they have access to land ownership. So among the 29 countries, women, they spend on average twice as much time on housework and other unpaid activities than men. That's why there are disadvantages from economic point of view. If we want to take it from the perspective of the artificial intelligence, as I said, it's only 22% of our artificial intelligence professionals, they are globally are female, while we have 78% which are as a man. So this accounts for a gender gap of 72%. This gender gap is reflected as follows. As you can see, there is a big gap between male and female in terms of artificial intelligence, as elaborated and illustrated today morning by the doctor. So, if we want to try to investigate now these index and these indicators across the globe. and try to get more geographical distribution of these indicators. You can see in here that within the Western Europe is on average the region with the highest level of gender parity. They have 75.8% as an overall gender parity, I mean gender balance. The very second one is the North America with a 72.5%. Number three is the Latin America with 70.8%. And then we will move on to the Eastern Europe with 70.7%, East Asia and the Pacific 68.3%, South Asia 65%, Sub-Sahara 66%, and unfortunately our Middle East is within the last position with only 6.2% as a gender parity. Let's go now to Bahrain and try to see how Bahrain is doing in terms of closing the gap and the gender parity. And I took the ranking by region on 2018, the very latest report submitted by the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. And according to this report, Bahrain is ranked 132 out of 149, as I said, with a rank of 0.627, which is relatively good compared to the previous year, as Bahrain is progressing in terms of its ranking towards closing the gap in terms of gender. I did the benchmark, that's why I highlighted in green our very close countries within the GCC, and I compared those who are in position better than Bahrain, because as you can see, Saudi Arabia, it's in position not better than Bahrain, but Bahrain, the other countries in the GCC, we have Qatar in position 127 with 0.629, Kuwait 126 with 0.63, and United Arab Emirates 121 with 0.642. And this is the ranking of these countries in terms of global gender gap. Let's go more deep with Bahrain statistics and how this indicator is really break it down. And as you can see in here, Bahrain is doing good. As I said, is really better than the average. And the green point, it's reflecting the average, and Bahrain with the yellow one, it's above. It's better than the average. How this overall rank, which is 132, with a score of 0.62, 62.7%. We still have تقريبا 38 point or 37 point in order to reach the overall parity. As you can see in here, Bahrain is within the score. Within the average. It's really within the average. But within the average, and it's really good for education, they are reaching the higher level. For the health, it's the same. Still for the economy, they can push and they can improve, but there is a gap in here related to the political empowerment. If I will take this, these are the global gender gap scores. And if we want to go with these global gender scores, I have on 2006 and 2018 kind of comparison to show the progress of Bahrain in terms of these indicators. And as you can see, Bahrain was 102, but because the number of overall countries was less than 149, that's why. And because there is an increase in the number of countries involved in this ranking, that's why you can see in here it's 132. The index, it was 0.589, now it's 0.627, which is much better than before. Now, if we took it one by one, you can see in here, I will focus on 2018. I'll not go on 2006. For the 2018, it's 0.5. For the educational attainment, it's 0.998, which is almost the parity, which is almost. And in here, we have for the health, it's 0.95, which is also very close to the parity, to the equal balance between both, so 100% level of women empowerment. But still for the political empowerment was very low on 2006 with 0.024. Now it's 0.037. It's progressing, but it's still very far from the expectation in terms of parity and gender. Also, I will go deep with this. These are the 4 indicators for Bahrain, still for Bahrain. And as you can see, Bahrain is doing great for education. Even for education, there are 4 sub-indicators. Some of them, they are very high. Some others, they are less than the expected. But as overall average, it's really exceeding the expectations. So here, for example, I will take this. For the women in parliament, As you can see, the overall is the average 0.28. So in here, what they are doing, I mean the rank is 0.08, so they still have, because this is a negative and they have to go this side. So here they are doing well, and here they have to better improve. I will not focus on the political, what concerning me in here is the concept of economic participation. Still, the economic participation is not that bad, but we need to work on. We need to improve, and we need to have maybe more actions in order to reach high level of parity, as it's very close, but maybe one push is really required to reach that level. So, how can we close the gap gender? Now the question. Okay, we know very well that the targets is to close the gender gap. And there are different strategies or different actions in that direction. And one of this, according to the United Nations panel report and the Women's Economic Empowerment panel, in addition to the World Economic Forum, they end up with the following conclusion. Women economic empowerment is the smart thing to do. We have to empower women to achieve sustainability. We have to empower women from economic point of view in order to close the gap and in order to take ladies to another level and to improve the overall economic situation of countries and their readiness to be very competitive countries. Since economic empowerment is one of the solutions, so they end up with this. And they conclude that there are 7 primary drives of women economic empowerment. Okay, the solution is with women economic empowerment. Let's focus on this concept of economic empowerment. Economic empowerment means empowering women to have control over their lives from economic point of view. So, they have been focusing on different aspects. They are summarizing them as 7, related to regulations, related to, and here related to voice and representations, and changing business culture, practices, and so on. And they have been working on 4 dimensions. One of them is the formal sector, employers, and the woman-owned enterprise, in addition to agriculture and the informal work. For me, I will focus on the other parts, I mean the formal sector employees and the women-owned enterprise, to take me to the concept of entrepreneurship. As the key findings, they end up with the following. Women are and will continue to be a powerful drives to development. And when men and women, they become very equal in terms of property rights and everything, so economies grow fast. Fewer people, they will remain in poverty, and the overall well-being will increase. I mean, well-being of individuals, of the economy, I mean, of the countries and the community as a whole. Also, a lot of studies, they have reported the rising female employment to male level, that it can have a great impact on the GDP growth rates. And it has been proven by a lot of studies. And it has been proven that it has a great impact. So, as a conclusion, when women are empowered to make an income, to create their own businesses, to accumulate assets, and increase their own and individual economic security, they will be able to improve the industrial capacity. They will be able to impact the economy growth by creating new jobs, as well as expanding the pool of human resources and talents which are available in the country. So the key is by empowering women economically, by giving them that power to, as I said, to get that security in terms of income. How can we do that? Entrepreneurship could be one of the options. Entrepreneurship is one of the solutions to do that. So, why entrepreneurship is important for women economic empowerment? So, women entrepreneurship or female entrepreneurship today is a trend, is a hot topic, is a booming concept, and it's a very customized concept to the specification of women. So, and women entrepreneurship is an important channel to women's economic empowerment, and a very important pillar to read and the road towards the sustainable development. Why? Simply because through entrepreneurship, women, they can transfer their opportunity to gain more and more economic independency. This is one. Second, women entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship is really great process for women that would help them transform, overcome poverty, and improve their own well-being. As I said, not only their own well-being, well-being of their children, of the coming generation, and the whole community as well. So women can also become drivers of a change, and they can take a long-term and long-run perspective to secure better future for herself, for the community, for the society, and for everyone, even for the companies where they are working. And if we want to talk about workplace and women empowerment within the workplace, entrepreneurship is so important, is a tool. However, we know very well, I will go through the definition of entrepreneurship, and I will try to present a very basic definition of this concept. Entrepreneurship simply is a process through it one individual is going to recognize an opportunity and will convert that opportunity into a business. We know very well that creating a business is something very challenging and something very difficult, something that's very risky for both. I mean, for male and for female. So they are both of them facing challenges, and they have to work very hard in order to be able to convert that idea into a business. However, entrepreneurs, ladies, I mean, they are facing kind of gender-based barriers. With these gender-based barriers, they are starting and growing while they are starting and growing their business. And through different research, we have noted that these gender-based barriers, they are often greater and harder to overcome for ladies than for men. And that's why, in order to promote entrepreneurship for women as a key solution for women empowerment, I mean economic women empowerment, to be able to reach that level of closing the gap, I mean the gender gap, we needed to rethink and in order to find a solution for these challenges. But before talking about solutions and actions towards let's say solving or reducing these challenges, let's identify these challenges first. Let's recognize them. Let's know what are these challenges that one lady can face while deciding to start her own business. That's why now we will move to an activity which is basically, let's identify all together the different challenges. I would like to ask you to help me identifying the challenges and to compare that with the different strategies proposed, I mean the different studies results. So in here, as you can see at your table, each one, you have to follow the different directions that I'm going to give you. I'm going to distribute sticky notes. Please, Bennett, help me. I'm going to give each one of you a sticky note, and on these sticky notes, you are kindly requested to write down or to record, yes, to record by sticky note only one gender-based challenge. I mean obstacle, a barrier that you think or you feel a female entrepreneur would face. You have to work individually thinking about one challenge. Let's customize this exercise and try to localize it. I mean, if you want to take it from a Bahrain point of view, from a local context, you can do it. But what we need to do, it's only individual work, each one. Think about one obstacle or one challenge that lady would face. And later on, we will move into other steps. We will collect all your obstacles, and then we will ask you to work in a group. Let's start with this. I will give you 5 minutes in order to think about the obstacle, and then we'll move to step 2, 3, and 4 of this activity. I need only one challenge per note. Thank you. Okay, we will start with group number 1.
Okay, Salah Khalifa, Ahliauniversitybh.
Yes.
Noura Sayari, Brunel, Ahliauniversity, PhD student.
Great.
Okay, we decided to write about marketing as one.
As a challenge.
As a challenge, social restriction.
Okay.
And legal restrictions.
Okay.
Right.
Can you elaborate a little bit on these challenges?
Yes. As far as marketing, we know it's a challenge because the nature, the culture of the country itself. The woman should always appear in the social life or in some activities to market her business or to market herself. And there are some challenges that have to be solved, and I will leave to my colleague.
Yes.
The proposed solution for this problem when a lady decides to have her own business is to have the opportunity to get access to knowledge on how to run a business, on if she's embarking on a new field for women, to have the proper resources, availability of accessing resources, and to develop her skills and work on public relations, or let's say her external relations, and networking, promoting her network, and getting the advantages that a woman in such a position can have. Yes, exactly. And the next challenge?
Well, luckily that these challenges are coming like they are connected to each other.
Okay.
And, by talking mainly about marketing, social instruction is also there, because while she is in, she want to be a social, she have to be, the culture should change. The ladies or the woman should be appeared also, as I said again, socially. She might be between men, and she might remove all these restrictions. And we had talked about the solution as well.
The social restrictions, I think it's a very complicated one. And this also goes back to the first point on having the proper network, the proper support, because a lot of women don't have the support of the family, the support of their surroundings. So maybe having access to proper networking, and not having just because women do face a problem in that area, I think, and I may think that a lot of you can agree. Yes. Yes. Okay, the next point.
Last one will I think it will wind up all these legal restrictions. We had found out that some businesses are always limited to men, and the rules or the laws had been always put for men, so that was one of the challenges.
Okay, and the proposed solution here has to be on the level of the legislation, and as my colleague suggested, in Bahrain here, the Supreme Council of Women is responsible for such regulations and laws that supports and facilitates having businesses for women, and also government empowerment initiatives are key in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We need group 2. Now, who is going to be group 2? Yalla. Yes. Yes, please. Thank you. Do you want to present both? Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm going to present very quickly because I'm hungry.
We have to go all quickly because we are all hungry, yes?
So we looked at our challenges and we separated them into 2 key ones.
Okay.
One was support and one was self-confidence. Okay? On the support one, we came up with 3 areas we thought to address this. So the challenges were lack of support, and our solution was there needs to be a legislative framework which ensures support is fair, education, support for education, and support in terms of the funding framework. This is the one we did spend more time on, which we thought was a really interesting one, because this was a challenge which said trusting in the quality of her own ideas. Okay, and we understood that as a question about self-confidence. And we thought an absolutely key thing for solving this was mentorship,
Coach.
and also having models.
Yes.
So having very explicit models of female entrepreneurs, successful female entrepreneurs that people can aspire to.
Yes.
But again, we thought education was absolutely key. So thank you all very much.
Very nice. Short and sweet. Thank you so much. The following group. Yeah. Hello, Dr. Ahlam group. Oh, Sam.
Luckily, we have some common thoughts يعني, with our colleagues. Lack of support also is on our challenges. But now if we want to talk about lack of support in general, we have to find out like the group age of those who will start up this business. So therefore, if we will consider, we'll talk about a newly startup business. So we are considering that she will get married, she will have kids and so on, and she's not having another job, and she's not having supported with another job, and this will be very challenging for her.
Great.
So mainly funding, childcare, for example, let us say specialized places, because the value of my kids, where it will go, so where I will keep those kids. So we are lacking of having specialized education for those kids. I will leave the other two for my colleague.
You're done with the two. As she mentioned that the obstacles might be common between those two groups who started with. The third one, I'm not sure, she talked about lack of support, funding, and family commitment. I guess the solution for the first one, lack of support, will be to be surrounded with like-minded individuals and to be with knowledgeable and enrichable people.
Okay.
The second solution for the funding is to obtain a help or a support from Tamkeen, for example, if we considered Bahrain, if we're talking about Bahrain and BDB as well. The last solution for the last obstacle, which was related to family commitment, is to basically check or go to the services that are provided, just like special places where they provide us like a daycare in Bahrain. So this might be a solution for this obstacle.
Great. Thank you so much. Yes, this group. Yeah. This group. Yes, please. Shaka, I will help you. Just 1 second. Yes. Oh, nice. I like the drawing.
Okay, we've started at the bottom because we want to go up. So the three areas were social perceptions, whether that's to do with what society expects of women, access to resources, particular financial resources, and questions about women's capabilities. So our solution was educating and empowering the next generation so that women, as responsible carers, are also, because they've got sons as well as daughters, they both need to be appreciating the benefits of more equitable opportunities for both genders. Microfinancing for women, very successfully used in places like Bangladesh with the Grameen Bank. And then capabilities, well, let's just celebrate them. She has them. So let's celebrate the success of women on more occasions to highlight their achievements and provide role models for others.
No. We are absolutely, in line with the narrative. And we have, although there was a big gender gap there, I am the only male there. Still, we have arrived at that. We agree with this. Thank you.
You agree because you are the only one there. Last group. Yalla bana. Want to present it there? Huh? Sure. Anyway, thank you so much for your amazing work and to relate what you come up with the identified or the most common challenges related to ladies while starting and setting their businesses. They are summarized as follow. There is a kind of problem of discriminations or discriminatory property. There is a problem or challenge related to law and regulations, as you have mentioned, legislation. There is a problem or challenges related to the culture and the different cultural practices, as you have mentioned as well. There is problem or challenge related to the limited mobility, voices and representations, unequal share of family and household and responsibilities, as that group has mentioned also. And to conclude with, or to close with, the social exclusion based on gender. There is a sort of social exclusion of ladies based on her gender in relation to, as I said, to entrepreneurship. How to solve these issues? What are the solutions? What are the actions? Certainly, there are varieties of actions and strategies that could be different according to the context, to the culture, to the country, which are, as I said, different from one place to another one. But let's look at them from a general perspective. Now, if we are talking about challenges related to ladies while setting their businesses, this means that we have financial policies and legislations and some problems related to training and education for small enterprise development. We have also problems related to access to technology and information to establish and grow their businesses. We have challenges related to accessing commercial credits and financial and formal financial services. And also we have a problem accessing the national incentives in small enterprise development. To summarize and to solve these, we have mainly a strategy that covers three aspects, make it in a kind of general one or in a very holistic way. The first one, what we need to do, we need to create an enabling environment. Enabling environment includes all the solutions that you have been thinking about. Enabling environment for women, entrepreneurship development, and for gender equality. Enabling environment from a legislation point of view, from a social point of view, from a family point of view, and all these things, either as a local level, international level, regional level, even municipality level, and we needed to enable that environment. Enabling the environment, it means giving the ladies and women or female access to the environment and the different, let's say, things related to environment. It could include networking, as you said, or having support, and so on. The second point, it has to do with building the institutional capacities, capacity of agencies involved and concerned within this concept of women entrepreneurship and gender equality, like, for example, as I said, organisms or institutions like Temkin and EDB and Riyadat in Bahrain, which is specifically dedicated to women as an incubator in Bahrain. And the last point, it has to do with developing tools and support services for women, like providing training in order to acquire the needed skills. And remember, there is one group who talked about the skills, and maybe there are specific skills related to entrepreneurship, which are specifically related to women, and we need to design programs. And this has to do with education. As you mentioned it, the educational empowerment. Educational empowerment within the field of entrepreneurship, with legislation, with regulation, with a good environment, I mean good culture. All of them, all together, would help to support ladies to overcome these challenges related to setting their own businesses or creating their own businesses, and so on, being empowered economically, and so contribute to the community and to the whole overall economy. I needed to stop here because everyone is hungry in this class. And I'm supposed to have an activity, but I will close. The activity is to think about the characteristics, I mean the skills needed by a lady. Because today we are taking entrepreneurs in general, but we have noticed through research that there are specific qualities or specific skills that ladies require in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, starting with balance, till creativity. We have balance, resilience and perseverance, determination, honesty, integrity, confidence, strength and courage, focus, passion, problem solving, commitment to excellence, communication skills, perseverance and creativity. These are the needed skills by ladies to be successful as an entrepreneur. And now, thinking about the motivations, why lady is motivated to be a business? What are the factors or the drives that would motivate a woman to be an entrepreneur? They are different than the motives for a man. While they did the comparison between what are the driving force that would push a lady to start a business, comparing that with what would push a man to start a business, and they end up with the following. They said there is, one of the motives is satisfaction with their work, the possibility of making a difference in their community, the search for a good balance between work and life, family, because being entrepreneur, being independent, having more flexibility in terms of time and so on. So more flexibility to combine, as I said, family and work. And there is the concept of necessity entrepreneurship. They don't have other options to enter the labor market. So entrepreneurship for them, it's for necessity. That's why it's one of the drives to start a business. So closing, these are the factors for gender parity, including different aspects within the community, starting from education to health, to political aspect, till economic aspect, which is entrepreneurship is one of them. We needed to help each other and to work in different directions in order to empower women and in order to close the gap related to gender. Thank you so much for your attention and wish you a very nice day.